It's
Yep.
Jordan teaches jiu-jitsu, not Jordan shows off how good he is, you know? I don't really have the motivation to compete. That's probably the biggest challenge, is not burning out.
Your revenue streams.
Jiu-jitsu, 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 and I love jiu-jitsu, but
Please don't hurt yourself.
I won't. That's a hard question to answer, I guess.
Today I'm here with Jordan Teaches Jiu Jitsu. Jordan's a black belt, gym owner, and popular YouTube creator. And if you click this video, he's probably taught you something about the world of grappling. And today, we'll be asking him 10 questions. You first opened your gym as a blue belt, which I think is fair to say is abnormally early.
Yeah.
So what was the motivation behind that, and what was like the biggest challenges that came with it?
I was working at a CrossFit gym, and they asked me if I wanted to start a program for grappling there because they were expanding to a new space. And I wanted to open a gym, so it just worked out good. Except it wasn't great timing wise because I wanted to be at least a brown belt before opening the gym. But I had confidence, you know, because I was competing all the time and doing well, and I knew that I knew what I was talking about. Because I still don't think belts really matter that much. I mean, if you're good, you're good, and if you're a good teacher, you're a good teacher. So I had confidence, so I was like, screw it, let's do it. Yeah, I got a lot of flack from the community. Oh, you can't do that, you know. But I did it, and now I have tons of black belts to roll with and a successful gym.
I've heard you say before on your Talk Jiu-Jitsu podcast that your goal at one point in time is to be the best in the world. Has that changed at all? What's the main goal of your jiu-jitsu now?
Yeah, I mean, that's always been the goal, really, is to be the best in the world. But, you know, it's kind of a hard thing to say because I don't really have the motivation to compete. And I feel like if you say something like that, then you should go out and prove it, right? But at least I can feel, you know, confident in the level I've got to. And I'm not going to say I'm the best in the world, but like, I am very confident in my ability. Yeah, I think I can hang with anyone. So I'm proud of myself, of like the skill level I've reached and the ability to teach. Yeah, I guess my goal now, like I want to be the best teacher in the world and just, yeah, be able to help everyone with their jiu-jitsu. I think I understand jiu-jitsu really well, and that's one thing that helps me with the channel. But yeah, I mean, I'm a very competitive person, so like I'm not going to do something and not want to be the best at it.
What aspects of gym ownership and content creation do you dislike the most?
I can deal with bad comments now, but back like for a while, it was hard to deal with negativity. So that has been a challenge, but also just staying motivated and not burning out. That's probably the biggest challenge, is not burning out, because every single week after week, I teach jiu-jitsu every day online, like during the day, and then at night, I teach jiu-jitsu at night. So it's like jiu-jitsu, 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 and I love jiu-jitsu, but I also would like to have some time for other things too, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I've done. I've actually hired someone at my gym to be like the gym manager. So now I focus on the YouTube channel mostly, and I just teach at the gym like 3 days a week. So it's really eased my schedule.
I want to talk about the ecological approach. For those at home who may not know, the ecological approach is a hot topic in jiu-jitsu right now. It's essentially an alternate teaching method where instead of the traditional steps 1, 2, 3, 4, you give the students constraints, start in certain positions, and use task-based games to learn kind of more intuitively, like learn through doing. What do you think the ecological approach gets wrong? And is there still a place for drilling in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, so first off, I really like the ecological approach. Like, I think it makes sense, and I think that spending the majority of the time live is a good thing. And the traditional ways of doing things isn't the best way of doing things. But I think the purists of ecological go a little too crazy of, oh, you can't teach any technique. But that's not what the science says. The science doesn't say you can't teach technique, because what that does is directs their attention and intention, and it also gives them knowledge about. So that's secondhand knowledge. And then when you go to do it, develop that skill, that's knowledge of, and that's firsthand knowledge. So the science doesn't say you can't show technique. It's just like, why spend, you know, hours or whatever amount of time just like endlessly dead repping? That is pointless, right? So, you know, for example, like rolling back attacks, I don't see how I can make a game to show the entries, but I think I can easily make a game, do attacks from the truck and like going over knee positioning and stuff like that. So I think that they just go a little too crazy, in my opinion, and don't allow for any nuance. And I think that it's just not the best way to approach it. I think having a little bit of balance is best. I also think that there's a lot of things that aren't very intuitive. A lot of their answers are, it doesn't matter if it doesn't emerge. So for example, you can do anything like a fake guard pull ankle pick, or I don't know, some sort of weird niche technique. they'll say it doesn't matter if it doesn't emerge through games.
Oh, really?
But like, to me, I like to learn as much as possible, and I want to have as many tools as possible. So for example, I was talking to someone who's like a pretty well-regarded expert about ecological, and I was saying, well, if you do like a lateral drop, like that's something I think should be done statically first for safety. And his answer was, you don't need a lateral drop, right? But you know, and I don't want it to sound like I'm talking smack, but he's a blue belt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, I'm a black belt, and that's not like a logical fallacy, you know, like appeal to authority. I don't mean it like that. I just mean like how I get better now is by adding new tools and learning those tools from others, the way they do things, getting knowledge about those tools. And I just don't agree with it not mattering if someone doesn't learn something. For the most part, like, you don't need to do everything, but you can be exposed to techniques that are cool and will work for you through others that it would be hard to emerge on its own. And it's also, again, it's not against the science. It's like more their opinion a lot of times than it is like the science saying you can't do any static drilling. What they would say is that it would direct your attention elsewhere. If the instructor said you have to do it this way, these specific grips, but I think a good instructor teaches principles and the objectives and can give you options for grips, and they should be careful about their language. And I don't think for myself I direct anyone's attention in a negative manner by showing them like what this grip does, and you know, the pros and cons of different ways of doing things.
If you had advice for someone like me who's just beginning to teach, what would that be to help them improve in their instruction? And do you have a process yourself for lesson planning?
I guess my advice would be just to always try to improve. Like, always ask yourself, did I explain this well? What could I have done better? Could I have used better language? Was this even applicable? Was it valuable? Like, did you make the person better at jiu-jitsu in that practice? And a lot of times instructors don't always think of that. They might show some random berimbolo or something that the whole class isn't going to care about. They're not going to get better at jiu-jitsu from learning that. Like sometimes they will for sure. People use the berimbolo, but you should really think about like, how can I make everyone better? I mean, you just get better by doing. That's like the ecological way, right? So like, but it's also helpful to have knowledge about teaching and then gain knowledge of it through doing it. Oh yeah, another thing too, I guess, would be to put yourself in the shoes of new students where not everything's so obvious all the time. And if you put yourself in their shoes and try to explain it how you would have liked it to be explained when you were a beginner, I think that's like really important. I wish I could say I lesson plan, but really it's all up here. And like, sometimes I don't know, I guess admitting that because it sounds like I'm professional at times, but I just like doing it as I go, what I feel like people need and whatnot. And you know, even for example, this camp, I don't really want to admit it, but I didn't really have much of a plan going into it. I just wanted to see where everyone was at and then kind of figure out what would these people like to learn, what would benefit them. And I've been doing this so long that you could tell me to teach anything and like, I'll be ready to go right now. I don't need, you know, any time. I don't need 5 minutes even to like get ready.
So in my experience filming YouTube videos, the energy can sometimes change once the camera's on. Have you ever had an instance where filming a role with someone who you may not know that well went a way you didn't expect?
That's a hard question to answer, I guess. For the most part, no. Like, especially lower belts are always, you know, they're fine with getting tapped, no problem. And a lot of black belts are fine too, but some black belts aren't. And the role might start off a little bit more like relaxed, and then I felt they start getting kind of mad and doing some kind of like dick jitsu a little bit. And I've had in the past 3 times now where after the roll was filmed, they told me I couldn't use the roll, which which I think is kind of bullshit, because like, if they were to tap me and kick my ass, I'm gonna put it up because I don't want to be like that, you know what I mean? So I take the risk, and then they don't take any risk because they can just say no after if it doesn't go how they want it to. And I think too, people often like underestimate me because they think I'm just a YouTuber, but I was a competitor for a long time and I'm confident in my skill, and people, they don't realize that I'm actually pretty good. So now it makes it really hard and awkward to ask people that are high level if they want to do it, because I know how many have had a hard time dealing with it mentally after and like just saying no. So I try not to ask people too much, to be honest. I don't want to go out of my way because people, they want to see high level roles, like me do it with high level guys, but I live in a small town, so unless someone comes to me, I have to go to them. And it's just a hard thing to like, you know, go to someone's gym, like ask them, I'm gonna go to your gym, we're gonna film a role. It sounds like a challenge, you know?
Right, yeah,
so,
like you're calling them out.
Exactly, so I have a really tough time with that. And it's really annoying when people say like, oh, you just like beat up white belts and blue belts on YouTube. Well, they're the easiest ones to say yes, and I can still teach jiu-jitsu using them, and that's what the channel's all about. It's Jordan teaches jiu-jitsu, not Jordan shows off how good he is, you know? Which people forget that often.
That's a bar.
Yeah, it's super annoying.
Do you edit your own videos?
Yeah, I edit all my videos, yeah.
How big's your YouTube team?
Just me and another guy who basically handles like more of the administration type of stuff. Yeah, it's not really a big team, and I don't have much of a plan either because I kind of wing everything. It's like Monday morning, I'm like, I gotta make a video. What's it gonna be? You know, it's gotta be up by Friday because I have sponsor commitments and everything. Right. So I gotta get more organized. It'd be nice having more of a team, but it's also kind of impossible for what I do because the way I edit is entrenched in the teaching itself.
Why did you start a YouTube channel? Was it to teach?
The pandemic was really hard on me as a gym owner, like financially. And when it was the third lockdown in Ontario, so they closed the gym again. And I was like, oh, I gotta figure out a way to make money online. And I always wanted to start a YouTube channel, but I thought it was oversaturated. I was talking to my friend, he's like, no, it's not oversaturated. Like there's only one you and people will, you know, resonate with your style and your personality and stuff like that. And I kind of realized, oh yeah, like that is true. So I was like kind of really depressed at the time because of the pandemic, the lockdown. And that kind of just like got me out of a funk, and I knew I was going to be successful. Like I just planned to be the #1 YouTuber. Anything less than 100,000 subscribers I wouldn't be happy with, but like I knew that was going to happen because I checked out YouTube and I didn't feel like there was a lot of guys teaching very well. There's definitely some guys, like John Thomas is a really good teacher, and there's some other guys too that I really admire and think are great, but overall I didn't feel like there was a lot of quality teaching. So I figured, well, I'm good at jiu-jitsu, I'm a good teacher, and I'm motivated. So what I did was I bought $10,000 worth of equipment, and yeah, just like the best stuff. I put it on the credit card. I was pretty much like poor at the time because of the pandemic, but I just went all in, like in the burn the ships mentality. So like, you know, I have no choice but to succeed, and I knew I was gonna succeed. And I felt like just that story would be a nice story to tell, you know, that like I just took the risk and it paid off.
This next one, if it's a little invasive,
I'll answer.
Okay. I'm asking because, you know, I'm a blue belt who just started teaching. I just started doing YouTube full time. I'm aspiring to get to the place where you're at right now, where you have a gym, YouTube channel, and it's all functioning together. So if you were to break down your revenue streams into like a percentage of your total income, what would Jordan Teaches Jiu-Jitsu's like income pie chart look like?
Well, it's probably easier if I do like #1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Because yeah, it would be way easier that way. So like my #1 income source is course sales. When I started offering instructionals, that like really changed my life. I went from like doing good to like doing really good. Yeah, that was like a huge moment in my life. Just when I released the theory course, just seeing the sales in my email every time I refresh, it just like blew my mind. And made me really happy that so many people trusted me, that I would give them value. That was just amazing. So that's #1 is course sales, and then #2 is sponsorships. So I have an agent that he hooks me up with sponsorships. Sponsorships pay pretty good, so they're hard to turn down, but I don't like love putting them in my videos, you know, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And then third would be, I don't know, maybe like the gym, and is either tied for second, or it's third. Because I hired someone too, it's like less profit, but I'm focusing on the YouTube channel. And then yeah, AdSense pays like crap, you know, like it's awful. And then yeah, I got Patreon too, but it's not like a super big thing. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. Thank you for answering that.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
Last question. These are like kind of fun ones. Don't hesitate, just give me your answer. How many Gordon Ryans does it take to kill a grizzly bear?
Probably 3. Probably, I would think.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm also delusional, and I admit that, where like I think I could take a grizzly bear. So like I think you kind of have to be a little delusional to be like a competitor. So I'm sure like Gordon thinks he could take it himself too, and that's a natural thing. But yeah, I think it would actually take 3 of him, but only 1 of me.
Only 1 of you.
Nah, don't like crucify me in the comments.
Okay, last question. Have you seen those videos where guys like break baseball bats with a straight ankle lock?
Yeah.
You think you could do it?
Yeah, I could break a steel one. Yeah, let's go.
You want to try?
Yeah, sure, I guess so. Oh God. Well, I'm not the best ankle locker, to be honest, but I'll try my best. I don't know how they just do it like with their legs like this.
Yep. Please don't hurt yourself.
I won't. That's pretty easy.
That was the fastest one.
Yeah, that's super easy. Give me a harder one. Give me the steel one.
I'm at a loss for words. I did this for a short video and studied it, had to put a towel on it. That was so impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
You weren't joking. You probably could do a steel one.
Yeah, and I could take on a grizzly bear. No, probably not.
All right, that's all 10 questions. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Subscribe.